We are going to be talking about fascia and how it connects to the body. We're going to be talking to a PhD student, and we're also going to be talking to Coach Ikue about how to integrate this into your life. Today we're going to be dealing with trauma and stress, and we're going to be dealing with function issues in particular. Today is the 30th of October, and it is step 7, which is I protect what I sense. Today is a really powerful day. If you hadn't felt it, you were probably getting to the last moments of Libra a few minutes ago, and now we're into like what I sense is okay with the world, and that's switching right now. So you might feel a little bit dizzy, or you might feel a little bit out of your head. You might feel a little bit off in that way, floaty, or even tired. Those are all things that can happen today. So welcome, welcome, come on in. Looking forward to today. Hey, Happy Camper. Hey, Scott, all you guys. Hey, and for all of you who are, we realize that we've been watching all of you who are in the lives every day, that are doing resets, that are taking supplements, but you're not in the 28-day reset. So we are opening up a couple of spots to the Costa Rica event. If you don't have, so we have a couple spots open for people that are in the program, but not in the 28-day reset, the Lifestyle Artist program. We have coaches, facilitators. We have people in the Lifestyle Artist program. We have 28-day reset people. And if you fit that category, you've been watching live here and you want to come to Costa Rica, this is an opportunity where you get to learn more about maneuvers, how to help yourself, how to help others. It's going to be opened up. And if you want, before we even put up the link for it, you can email support@humangarage.net and
care.
Or sorry,
Yeah.
care?
Yep, care.
Care@humangarage.net. Care@humangarage.net. And we'll put up the link with the details. I think we have to have the details, right?
So I need to go make those public because right now it's.
Okay, yeah, they'll be public today. They'll be public today, but it starts off on the 14th, right?
Starts the 14th to the 17th to the 24th.
Oh, 17th to the 24th in Costa Rica. So if those dates match with you and you want to, you can message us at care@humangarage.net. Welcome, welcome, guys. Happy Monday. And also today we have Astro Monday with Christian Pedretti coming up a little later on today as well. So it's going to be a powerful day. And everything that we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, if you go watch the last 3 Astro Mondays, you'll see exactly what's happening. And boy, does the world look a little crazy right now. I mean, it looks like we're going to war. It looks like Canadians and Americans can't go places now. Our visas are being shut down. Americans are being told not to go different places. You know, this is why we want to bring people together in a place where we can. And that's why Costa Rica. Looking forward to today's discussion. We have a couple of guests coming up today. The first guest that we have is Rasmus. And I'm just waiting for him to come up. Is he right at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, he was right at 10 o'clock.
Okay. You want to give me his handle? I'll try and reach out to him.
Yeah.
It's
Norel.
Norel?
Rasmus. _Rasmus.
2 L's?
Norell.
Okay. Norell. There it is. I'm going to try and invite him up. Rasmus, if you're out there, he's going to be coming up. We're going to be talking about a study that he's doing on fascia, and I liked where he was going. So we're going to give him a little bit of support and a conversation to help. Is he there? Okay. Just trying to get him up here.
You can tell him the email is support@humangarage.
It's support@Human Garage. Sorry guys, if you're wanting to go to the retreat, it's support@Human Garage, and we'll have the information up shortly. Rasmus Norel, just waiting for him to come live. I don't see him in here yet.
He's in there. Maybe he needs to. I see him in here.
Okay, is he in the Rasmus? If you can do me a favor, and if you can hit me up on in the chat right now, because I'm trying to bring you up another way. It's not working.
Make a comment or request to go live.
Yeah, make a comment. Oh, there he is. I found him right here. Rasmus Norel. There we go. How
Hello,
you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So it's Rasmus, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Norel, and whereabouts are you calling from?
What?
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Östersund, Sweden.
You're
So in
in
the middle of
Sweden,
Sweden.
middle of Sweden. We have a lot of
Yes.
people in Sweden, actually.
You have?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our Fascial Maneuvers guide has only been translated into one language so far, and that's Swedish.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we
That's
have
cool.
people that do online classes. There's hundreds and hundreds of people that go to these online classes in Sweden. We've got one of our swimming coach, or one of our coaches that does Olympic athletes, does amateur to Olympic athletes, and he specializes in swimming. He's out there. Is sorry, the name? Uh, Lisa, what's his name? The coach? Oh, Talon.
Oh, Coach
Talon. Coach
Yeah,
Talon.
I think I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so he's out there too. So whereabouts in Sweden are you?
What?
Whereabout in Sweden are you?
In Östersund.
Oh, Ostersund. Where is that exactly?
It's in the middle of Sweden, like exactly in the middle.
Exactly in the middle.
Yeah.
So you're
If you look at the
going
map,
to
it's,
school. You sent the survey to me,
yeah.
and I liked the approach of your survey, which was you were looking at fascia and the body quite differently than other people. Your questions were skewed in a way that you were looking for new answers, not looking for the same old answers.
Yeah.
Now, what has led you into this quest to look like, and what is your background? First of all, when's your birthday?
31st, August 31st.
Okay, so you're a Virgo. Okay, we
Yeah.
got that down. Okay, you're probably a 7-degree Virgo too. So you're all about finding things, fixing things, making them work. Okay, got that. So, so what is it? What is it? Your program you're doing?
What?
What program is it that you are doing in school?
Social science.
And then how did you become interested in studying fascia?
So I'm studying social science, but I combine it with sports. So my sport is basketball, and I've been playing basketball since I was like 12 years old, and like quite it. I mean, I have been injured almost since I started playing basketball.
Right.
I've been in a lot of pain. Right now, and now I actually have a cartilage injury in my left knee, and I have patellotendinitis in my right knee. So, like, that's kind of what got me into looking for a method that could help me become a better basketball player. And then when I found you guys at Human Garage back in actually January this year, I became really interested and just keep diving deeper and deeper, studying people like, if you know David Weck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually have also bought Graham Tuttle's foot program. And
Okay,
done
Graham. Yeah, I love Graham.
other things like that. So it started from basketball and me being injured, having a lot of pain, and then I just dove deeper from there. I just became more interested and wanted to learn more about the subject. And when the teachers told me in school that we were going to write this project to get it's like an examination project to get our exam, and that's when I kind of knew directly that I wanted to write about something like this.
Right. Now, so I can see that you've sent this out to a lot of other people studying fascia, and as I was answering your questionnaire, I'm like, it deserves more than a simple answer, because the questions you had were actually pretty deep, and
Yeah, I know.
and they deserve more of a conversation than an answer.
Yeah,
And I'm super interested in helping you because you're asking the questions that people should be asking in science or in sports, and they're not asking it right now.
No, and the survey wasn't that good either because you could only write a limited amount of words. So I also thought this could be better. You're saving this live, right? Right.
Yeah, it'll be posted. You can watch it again.
Yeah, I can watch it and write down some stuff because I'll need it.
So go ahead. Let's get into it. Like, what after reading even my answers, what does that stimulate for you?
What?
After reading the answers to the questions that I've already written, what else does that bring up for you?
I don't know. It's just I barely remember what you wrote because it was so much.
Okay, yeah.
I
Well, let's start with what you want to know.
So first I was going to write this project about how different methods could help athletes, specifically athletes, get better at their sport, but that didn't hold on a second. It didn't meet all the criteria to my program, so I had to change it, and it became the title became is fascia training a paradigm shift within training methods?
Yes.
So the first question I want to ask you is, what do you think it is that is making people become so aware of fascia and the meaning of fascia in training now? And
okay.
Yeah.
I think there's two things. I think there's an intrinsic understanding or feeling that we don't have all the answers. And I know I had that feeling going through 25 years or 20 years, of trying to fix my body and going from practitioner to practitioner and modality to modalities. So there, and if you look at it in today's human health, there's not one measurement of human health that is better than it was 50 years ago. We're dying younger. We have more injuries. We have more disease, more dysfunction. We have more like ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, stress. So there has to be something in the current paradigm that's not working. And if you even think about it, if you go 50 years ago or even 30 years ago and you ask how many people even knew what a chiropractor was or they knew what an acupuncturist was, most of the people had never even heard 30, 35 years ago of a chiropractor or an acupuncturist, or they thought it was some sort of witch doctrine. But today, most people know what a chiropractor is, what a Chinese medicine doctor is, what acupuncturist, what an ART specialist, a trainer, a nutritionist is. Because 30 years ago, we didn't have nutritionists. 30 years ago, we had dietitians at a hospital, but outside of that, very few people really even knew. You go to a health food store or you read a few books. But we have all these tools available to us, and we're still worse off than we were 50 years ago. So that means that from a paradigm perspective, we're not better. We are in professional sports, like basketball, your sport. Injuries have gone up 7,000% in the last decade. But
oh my God.
But what's happened is if you go back a decade ago, an injury that would take somebody out of their career today is a day surgery, and they're healed in 3 to 4 weeks. So we're fixing them slightly faster than they're breaking, so it looks like we're doing better. But the truth is we're not. We're actually doing far worse than we ever were. And that paradigm is coming to a realization. Now that's the problem. Now, why do I think people are so interested is that there's also another part of it, is I believe that as a species, human beings, we're becoming more conscious. And as we become more conscious, we question more about ourselves, and we're no longer willing to accept simple answers. Like when you look at things like, does a brain and a muscle move the body? We have enough science to tell us now that the brain and the muscles don't respond fast enough to even make us move. So then what's moving us? So we have these big questions that have been looming out there for a long time, because you get all these doctors and practitioners that are starting to build their science around the body, and they're going, well, wait a second here, how come I can't answer this question? And And that's what was happening for us at Human Garage. We had 52 practitioners, and we're saying, why is it that people are not, if this works one time, how come it doesn't work a second or a third time? How come it only works for some people and not others? There has to be more to it. So I think it's a combination of things that are bringing this up to the surface right now. But the driving force is people have a need. And when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, human beings tend to change. And right now, the pain of staying the same is getting bad.
Yeah. That was a great answer, actually. But why do you think it has been so neglected by the majority of trainers and scientists before?
Well, I think we've been told, not I think, I know we've been told what to think about the body. Like, for example, let's take some basic precepts about the body. Bones are structure.
Yeah.
None of the bones touch except for the rib cage, the teeth, and the ears. So how could a bone be structure if it doesn't touch? Structure touches.
Yeah.
So the muscles don't hold up, like your knee joint, if this is your knee joint, your muscles aren't holding it up. There's only one basic muscle that crosses the knee, that's not doing it. The tendons keep it from pulling away. The connective tissue and the meniscus there, around there, that's not it. If you touch too much, they tear up right away.
Yeah.
So none of those explain how the knee holds apart, how the knee has stability. So the only thing left is fascia and skin. That's the only two things left. So you take a big gaping hole like that and say, well, bones aren't even structure. Well, then what are they? What did they do? And what is structure? And then why didn't we think about it as structure? So these big questions haven't been answered by science. And they haven't, and all these smart people are coming out now studying it because people weren't studying it. Orthopedics was virtually nascent. If you go back 30 years ago, there's very little help. If you had a problem with an ache or a pain or a shoulder out, you go to a doctor and he can't do anything about it. He had no experience about it. So today we have all these people now that are, for the last 30 years, that have been out there trying to fix the human body, and they keep coming up against these big roadblocks. And if we can't answer the most basic premise questions, like here's another one we can't answer. If I step on something here, it takes a second and a half for a nerve signal to go from here up through the body, through the brain, the cerebellum, and the homunculus of the cerebellum. Homunculus for distance and math and strength, and the cerebellum for motion, back down to the foot to move. So the question is that I asked about 13 years ago now was, well then how do I move when I step on a piece of glass? Because if I step on a piece of glass right now, I move instantaneously. Well, the answer is a ganglion reflex. But I said that can't be, because when I step on glass, I don't go boing. I go one way or another way, intelligently in safety. Well, that signal from the muscle and the skeletal takes a second and a half to get there and back down, but I'm already moving to safety. That means that something else is moving before my brain even knows that there's a danger. And so that was my hypothesis. Without having an answer, I just said, the current model doesn't answer this question, so I'm no longer going to listen to the current model. I did that 13 years ago. I said, I'm going to look for a new way, and I believe fascia had the answer, but I didn't know how or why. It's about intelligence. It's about ability to cope in the market. So like, if somebody, there's this great video where this guy in baseball is talking to a reporter, and somebody hits a ball that's coming right at her face, and he goes like this, catches it, and then throws it away to protect her.
Yeah.
He didn't even look at it. He catches it. So the other question is, if the brain is responsible, the brain has to use sight, sound, touch, taste, hearing. How did the brain know that that ball was there?
Yeah.
And it didn't. So since the brain couldn't comprehend that motion, then what did, and how did that work? And I believe it's fascia. And that's what the world's coming to. And I believe that fascia is basically our body's composition. We're 70% water, 25% silica or sand, technically, 5% bacteria and viruses and parasites. So if you put us in a big centrifuge and spin it, the only thing that comes out is water, sand, and bacteria and parasites. That's it. So that means that that we are the same, our body's composition is the same as a quartz crystal. So we're basically a crystal, and our fascia is a liquid crystal. So that, and the crystals are used for communication. So it's communicating when that baseball player grabbed the ball. That's something coming at the body, and there's something other than the brain sensing it, and is communicating to the body to coordinate to catch it. So that tells me that there's some energy around us that's intelligent, and the brain and the body are coordinating with that, with the movement of that energy. And my interpretation was the fascia is what did that, because it is the crystalline structure.
Yeah, that's really cool. But how do you think? What have the consequences of this neglection been? Like,
Well,
in training and in sports and.
okay, well that's the injuries.
Yeah.
So here's one. Take your hand and go like this. Get the full range of motion. Okay, now squeeze your hand and do the same thing. Your range of motion goes down, right?
Yeah. That's a lot stiffer.
Yeah, so because you're contracting muscles. So when you contract muscles through a range of motion, it restricts the joint. And that's why I used to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I had restriction of joints. Like I go to do fascial maneuvers with bodybuilders, and I can't do anti-gravity. You have to give them a towel. So that's not, and when the body doesn't, movement is the way the body interprets the environment and gets toxins out and connects with power. And so if I don't have the proper movement through that joint, there's signal loss. Like just think of the body as a computer, the brain as a processor. That computer uses motion and movement as a way to understand the environment, a very, very strong way of understanding it. And if I can't move through a range of motion, then I'm limiting how much my body or my computer can interpret the world. That means I react. So the primary thing is that because we have neglected it, we have built beliefs that muscles are what are important in our body. And so we've been building muscles. And if you go back, if you go back into the 60s and look at college, or look at high school boys or college boys or girls, you see college boys were all lean. None of them were overweight. They were all fairly muscular, but not ripped muscular. And they all could perform, they could move. Yeah. Today, that's not the case. They're either ripped, they're really built, or they're big and heavy, or they're fat and obese. And there doesn't seem to be an in-between. Yeah. So what's happened is that we've focused on building muscle, which muscle is very heavy and lethargic. And from a guy who's spent my whole life at 215 to 230 pounds, and now I'm 160 pounds today. I'm my 14-year-old weight, but I am 2 to 3 times stronger than I was a year ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. So I'm stronger and lighter.
Yeah.
So we now have this issue where we have a whole society that has built muscle, which requires a lot of hormonal energy, and those hormones get dysregulated, and they're causing a lot of disease.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of questions about myself now, because I'm actually very stiff, and I've always believed it's because I'm too weak in some muscles.
So think about it this way. If I was to pull your shirt and restrict it here, yeah, right? And then I go to lift, I have a lot of restriction. It's hard for me to lift past that. But if I let that go, I could do that. Well, that's what fascia is. Yeah. Fascia is if it's pulled and torqued over here and like this, well, you can see my shirt. Then if I have to lift against it, it causes restriction. So I have to use a lot of energy to go against it. So fascia is around the muscle. It's through the muscle. It's in the organs. It's in the brain. Fascia is actually in the bones. We were made, when a baby's born, there's a ball of plasma like this, and a little muscle skeletal system grows in that plasma. That plasma is our fascia. So we're grown in fascia. We're grown in fascia. We are fascia.
Everything is basically fascia from the beginning.
Yeah. And then here's another way to look at it. I'm going to throw another loop at it and say, okay, just because a human being, I can only see your body, there's machines and science and pictures and cameras and that can measure this field around us called an entropic field or called an aura. So we have science that can measure that.
Yeah.
So animals can see it. We just don't see it. Some people do. I personally have never really seen auras. I've seen a couple times where I go, whoa, I can see a glow around you, but that's it. But some people can literally see it. So just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. That's the first thing. So I have this field around me that's intelligent, and as I move into the center of that field, it gets denser and denser. Now I can see the density of it. But that doesn't take away from that field that's around there. That's why when we lose an arm, we still have a field around it which we can measure. And that's how when we use a prosthetic, then now the brain moves the arm. Well, that's that field it's connecting with. Because there's no nerves to go there.
No.
So how does it work? So basically my hypothesis is fascia is your entropic field. And the only part of it you and I see is the densest part of it.
Yeah. That's kind of hard to comprehend.
It is, but from a scientific standpoint, that makes more sense than the current version. And
Yeah.
and I'm always open to say, I don't get it yet. And if there's a better answer, I will take that better answer in 10 seconds. I'm not fixed to anything because I'm not trying to protect a belief system. I'm not a doctor of anything. I'm a doctor of truth and answers.
Yeah.
So I'm open to whatever it is, but right now that's the best way to describe it. And what I've learned about working with the human body over the last 15 years in particular, and my own 20-year journey myself, and the millions of I've got like almost $20 million of direct effort I've paid into either fixing my body or working to fix other people's bodies to learn this lesson, which is I don't know shit. And every time I think I know and I say, this is the way it is, I learn something new.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning stuff new today. As a matter of fact, what you see online isn't even close to where we are today.
I think that's very important too, because that's kind of the problem with the school system right now. We're just staying in the old paradigms, and it doesn't correlate with what actually is.
Yes.
So how do you think this new view of fascia will affect our society? Like, how can we help people get out of pain and discomfort like you guys are doing? Okay,
so there's a good one. The bigger question that you ask first is, what is pain? So pain is the greatest motivator of the human experience. There's nothing that makes us move more than pain, whether it's physical, emotional, or perceptual. So the greatest motivator of human experience we've been taught is bad.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have to look at our experience and say, pain is my body trying to tell me something. And usually if it's a chronic issue, it's been telling me something for a long time and I wasn't listening. I didn't know how to listen. So first and foremost, it's learning to communicate with our actual body, not our brain, not what we think it is. And it's learning to interpret the signals that the body is giving to us every day that we weren't aware of. That's the first and foremost. Once we start to take a look at pain and say, and the other part too is, if I have a pain that's level 3 pain and I'm stressed out about it, that becomes a 6 or an 8 pain really quickly because stress hormones make it worse.
Yeah.
So pain is the body just saying to you, look over here. I'll give you an example. Like if I was to go and like really squeeze your arm, really painful, and it's like hurting you, like level 9 pain, if I'm really digging in there, you take and put your hand there, the pain drops by 50% instantaneously. Because your body knows that you are paying attention to it now. Because it just keeps getting louder until you do something. So that's the first thing, is to recognize that pain is different than we think it is. The other,
it's a
sorry, what was the
communication.
question again?
How do you think, or wait, how can this affect people's health, like
Okay.
the possible
Okay.
paradigm shift?
Good. So yeah, so it's reorganizing how we see the body communicating to us. So learning, when we learn to communicate with our body, we can learn to interpret the signals that the body's telling us way over here before it gets over here and it's painful. I mean, it's not gonna affect you if you get shot by an arrow or a bullet or you fall off something, but most of the pain we deal with in our life isn't a bullet at us, or it's not being cut. It's something gradually over time that we didn't listen to or know how to deal with. And then it becomes cumulative. And that's what he said, like, I have restriction or pain, I can't function. That's something that your body was trying to tell you that you weren't able to interpret. So as we learn to interpret the signals, we can reduce the amount of pain in the body. And when we have pain, pain narrows our focus to a single solution. So pain actually stops us from seeing more answers. It gets to the quickest, most direct answer to fix it. The more pain, the worse it is. Like the outcome of pain, the final outcome of pain is suicide. If I have too much pain for too long and I can't resolve it and I need to get out of it, the only way out of it is suicide. That's what suicide is I can't stand the pain of whatever this is. Usually it's emotional, but there's a lot of people that commit suicide because of physical pain too. So we can reduce the amount of pain, which means that we digest better, we process better, we live healthier lives, we move better. So every aspect of human life gets better when we learn about our body in a new way. The old way ain't working, that's for sure, because everything else is working. And the new way is to listen and learn and understand and get some sense of how our body's really talking to us and saying, okay, I see that. That's an emotional pain over here. It's anger, it's liver, let's say. And then I can feel that I'm actually getting tight up through here and through here and through here. And I can feel that. And I've been carrying this around for like a couple of weeks and I don't want this anymore because when I play basketball, it affects me when I jump. So I'm going to deal with the pain of anger. And then what happens is we can start addressing things way upstream so they don't become big problems anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. But how could this possibly help reduce things like heart disease or cancer and diseases like that too, and not only?
Perfect. Yes. So what is heart disease and what is cancer?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you're going to ask the bigger question, like, what are these things? I don't accept that they are what we say they are. I mean, we didn't even listen. There's 2.2 million proteins in the body. We only know what 50,000 of them are, and we only know what 5,000 of them really do. So I'm going to say that in the overall scope, since proteins run our bodies, I'm going to say 50,000 and 2.2 million. I'm going to say we don't know anything about the body really. So I'm not going to take the science view of what cancer is or heart disease because we've already proven we don't know. And what are we doing today? What did we look at like 20 years ago? And that was, we in medicine say that was stupid. How are we so stupid to think that? So what are we doing today that we're going to say in 20 years that was stupid? One of them is making assumptions that we know what the body's doing. The body's way too intelligent for us. So things like cancer, well, if the body's in stress, we were talking about earlier stress. If you remove stress from the body, then the body has the ability to digest, rest, process, eliminate, and heal itself. So then the question is, do we have cancer and heart disease when the body's out of stress? My answer is no, because we have roughly 20 million people around the world doing fascial maneuvers in a couple of years. And what we're starting to see is people that have these diseases come back now and say, I don't have them anymore, and they have medical evidence. That means that our theory, which is still a theory, like I'm completely open to say this is all theoretical, but the current evidence from our theory, we have like 3.5 million people on media. We've got 20 million people doing this. We have hundreds of thousands of doctors around the world that are implementing it. And every bit of feedback, we get 400 to 2,000 testimonials a day in one form or another. every bit of feedback that we get says that it's reducing these diseases, that they're becoming less impactful, and people are even showing us medical evidence of curing them. So then again, what is disease? Disease. The body's not at ease. So if I'm angry, if I'm fearful in my body, I'm not at ease. If I'm angry, I'm not at ease. If I walk around like that for 20 years, that dis-ease is eventually going to cause a physical effect in the body that somebody else is going to be able to diagnose. And it might look like a cancer, or it might look like brain disorder, or Parkinson's, or MS, or something like that.
Yeah. How do you think this could affect our society? Like, how do you, what's your imagination of a future society where we like implement this one?
Really, really good question. Okay, so you've been doing maneuvers now, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel in your brain and your emotions compared to before?
Much more relaxed.
More relaxed. Would you interpret that as less reactive to your world? So less, like when the world shows up, you're less jerky, less reactive, less angry, less frustrated?
Yeah, I feel more at peace.
More at peace, okay. So if you're more at peace, when somebody comes at you with anger, you have more capacity to be peaceful in that situation, right?
Yeah.
So if you're more peaceful, then eventually I become more peaceful.
And then everyone becomes peaceful.
Yeah, we're going into so if we get out of, so we jump from science over to consciousness and astrology for a second.
Yeah.
We're in the age of Aquarius. In the age of Aquarius, we do get along. We stop fighting about I have and you don't have, because even from a technology standpoint, almost everything that we spend our money on today is for food and shelter and stuff like that. But technically, robots can make all this stuff, even from a technological point of view. Not that I believe that that's the future I want, but I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe the world's going to go into organic and non-organic. But if I have all the basic needs for me met very easily without having human labor involved, because what is money? What do we spend money for? We don't spend money for things. We spend money for the time that it takes to make things, acquire things, or bring them to you. So if that's the human time, because why? Because that human time has a limit to it. So it makes that time more valuable. But if a robot is doing it, which is happening right now, you see it. And I can get all the things that I need and have my food cooked and stuff like that, and grown in my own garden. We got robots who can grow in our own. I mean, we're doing a project where we're growing microgreens and mushrooms, and there's AI involved. That's what we're doing up in Canada. And it's like, okay, so if all of this is there, then I don't need as much money anymore. So that means I don't work as much. Yeah. That means that if I don't work as much, because you think about where you spend your money, it's for food and shelter. Yeah. That's 75% of all the money you're going to spend in your life. So if that's gone from 75% down to 15 or 20%, then what do you do? Like, then what I do with my time? I have more time. I become more creative. I do more things. I go out and see more of the world. I take care of those little things that I haven't been listening to in my body.
Yeah. I think that was the last question actually.
Yeah. So what? Let me ask you now.
Yeah.
So you've been studying this from a social, economic, and from a sports science point of view, and you've been doing this yourself, and you're feeling calmer, more relaxed. Where do you think this is going to go for you?
For just me?
Yeah.
I gotta think, man.
It's a little different when the questions are being asked the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you'll perform better in sports?
I can actually say I know I'll perform better in sports because I have some stressful weeks and haven't been able to do fascial maneuvers because I hadn't had the time. But now we're heading into kind of an autumn break here in Sweden. So for the last 3 days, I've done fascial maneuvers both in the morning and during the evening. And last day at practice, I could feel how I was more bouncy. Like
Yeah.
I felt more athletic when I played. So I definitely think it could make me a better basketball player, and I hope it can make me feel less pain. Like I have felt less pain when I do them in the moment, but it always comes back. So I
Yeah.
think it might have to do something with trauma or something stuck in my body that
There
I
you
don't really
go.
know
So
how to
yeah, now you're
release.
getting to it. Right. By the way, what I found working with people is that if I was to like take my elbow and stick it in your knee and your quad and create as much pain as I could, within 3 minutes, that pain that could be a 9 or a 10 where you could barely stand it will go down to a 2. I see the muscle skeletal pain of the body about a 2 for everything, and everything above a 2 is my emotional response to that pain.
Yeah.
My body trying to get my attention. Say, are you listening to me? Have you got this yet?
Well, then I should probably stop playing basketball because of my knee. It's telling me to
So,
rest it.
so my experience for you, I know it's a little harder for supplements and stuff like that, but I want you, I can get supplements to Sweden. There's an import duty that you have to, an HST or something you have to pay, but I'm going to send you some supplements. I'll take care of my cost and the shipping, and just the importation, it maybe like 40, $50 or something. If you're okay, do you want to do that? And I'll send them to you.
That would be absolutely awesome. Like I've been thinking about buying those supplements, but
It's
my
a lot of
my
money
mom
for you over there.
my mom
I know, with all
thought
the
it was a
taxes
little
and
bit
shipping.
expensive.
Okay, so
That
what I'll
would
do
be
is
so
you
nice of you.
send me a message in and say you're on the live today, and Gail will send you out a form for the supplements, and we'll just get it all over to you, and then there you can get diatomaceous earth and moss, like an Irish sea moss, or you can get some a mineral that's similar to that, Irish moss or shilajit minerals. Get those and start taking those over there, and boron slash boric acid slash, and start taking those. Those will be the biggest gains to you, because what you're doing is you're coming out of the tightness that you had in your body. But what's happening now is that as you get more and more hydrated, you'll become super, super flexible. Like I laugh because I'm purposely doing less fascial maneuvers than I've ever done right now, and my physical body every day is better, stronger than it's ever been, and lighter.
That's really cool. For how long will I have to take these supplements?
Well, I mean, I'm going to send you over just some that last you for probably about 6 weeks or so. But the diatomaceous earth and the Irish moss, you're going to probably want to take that not as a supplement. Those are like the powder. Use it as a food ingredient. It's basically what's been extracted from your food through farming.
Yeah.
Like we no longer get the proper minerals anymore, and that's not just you. If you're buying food and it's produced at a farm, and the agriculture methods today have taken out a significant amount of the important minerals, and those minerals are the capacity for our body to move information. So I have that. Like I have Irish moss, sea moss. I have it in a gel format. I'll put it in a smoothie. I'll just eat a spoon of it. I'll put it in a soup when I'm cooking a soup. And then the diatomaceous earth, there's no real good way to take it. I put a heaping tablespoon or two in water, stir it up, and I drink it. It's kind of it tastes like sand, but not really, not sand. It tastes like, it's chalky a little bit, but my body craves it now. And that's why I think even see my hair, I don't know if you've watched for a long time, it's going blonde again. My body's getting leaner, more muscular. Or sorry, we don't call them muscles, we call them fascials. Fascia muscle.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So let's just check in again and see how you're doing, and let's in a while, maybe 6-8 weeks, and let's check in and see how your research project has gone. And I'd be curious to to know how this information from today and from your research and the stuff to answer. Curious to know how that looks in your world. Like, what does that change for you? How does it show up? How does that show up in your body? And we'll use it as an experiment.
Yeah, that would be really cool, actually. And I could probably use that in some way in my research project too. Like,
N of one, N equals one, right? It's like me. I am the experiment.
yeah.
So I believe firmly that, and you're a Virgo, so it's all about embodiment. I believe strongly that the only way to truly understand this world that we live in is to embody the attributes of it. And we live in this body, and we've been taught to do nothing. It should just work, and that's not the way it is. Our bodies are trying to communicate with us. And I believe that people that do not have some sort of program to help themselves right now, I believe that they're going to end up in a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain over the next year. That's what I believe, personally.
Yeah. Awesome. Where did you say I was going to text you about the messages?
Yeah, just DM just DM at Human Garage,
yeah.
And then Human Garage DM say you're on the live today. They'll know who you are. They're watching, yeah. And we'll send you out the supplements. And again, you'll just be responsible for the local tax there.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive, and we'll send you out the top 5 supplements.
Thank you so much. That's really cool.
I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Let's do that in about 6 or 8 weeks, maybe 8 weeks.
Awesome.
Let's see what your life looks like in 8 weeks.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Gary.
No, thank you for doing what you're doing. I gave you this time because out of everybody who's asked me for research, including the scientists and the doctors, you're the only one that was asking the right questions.
I don't even know if I believe that.
Oh, I can tell you, because they want to know the technical aspects of fascia and the science of it. And you can't move away from how does it affect you and society and your emotions and us as people. Those are the questions that we really want to ask, because otherwise it's just science, and science got us into this mess in the first place.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gary.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye.
That was awesome. I get a lot of people asking for science or backgrounds or interviews and stuff like that. And I think you've probably noticed, if you've been watching for a while, that I give my time to people who are out there making a difference, who give a shit right now. And the ones who have been doing it for a long time, they typically don't have that same viewpoint of it. Oh, let's talk to Dr. Christian Pedretti. Christian. And I love all of you practitioners, doctors, medical doctors, Chinese medicine doctors who've been doing this. Hey, Christian! Oh my gosh! Holy smokes, you changed your look.
I have, yeah, I cut it all off.
Wow, that's really good. So I know a lot of people know you, but just give me your name, what you do, and then your birthday.
I am Dr. Christian Pedretti. I'm an acupuncturist in the Lehigh Valley area of Pennsylvania, and my birthday is November 12th.
Yeah, it's like, wow. It's been a journey. You got a birthday coming up. Are you feeling the pressure of everything right now coming up to your birthday?
Yeah, for at least the last 4 years, around this time becomes pretty hellacious, if I'm honest. And I'm definitely been feeling that lately too, going through a lot of relationship changes, a lot of just pulling up the weeds, if you will. And so I am going through it, yes.
What's your degree in Scorpio again? I forget your chart.
I don't even remember, but the 12th would make me what?
12 and 8, 20 or 21, either Sagittarius or Cancer. Oh, you're a caregiver.
Yeah.
You're probably 20 degree. I think it's 20 degree now if I think about it, because I'm thinking about reading your chart in Tulum. And I think it's 20 degree, which would make you feel the boundaries of everybody and everything. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and especially like my history with skin issues being about boundaries. So for sure. So that makes it a Cancer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cancer, yeah. Cancer, 20 degree would be Cancer Scorpio. So where Scorpio is your connection to boundaries, the other world, that sixth sense. But the Cancer part of it makes you want to apply that in caregiving for people, community, which you've been very active in. So what is it, out of curiosity, what does your practice look like today now?
So the practice is I'm still treating like I would have treated a while ago, which is like some people are just acupuncture,
Yeah.
but the people that really gravitate towards needing and wanting to make shifts in their lives, I do a lot of education with teaching them how to do the maneuvers. And then the big one is that I do a lot of workshops these days, a lot of workshops in the Lehigh Valley area, which incorporate fascial maneuvers, and I do acupuncture either at the end or during, and a lot of like what we've talked about. We kind of even came up with our own way to do acupuncture.
I love that. That's recorded somewhere. Did we actually put that up, publish it?
I don't think so. Not that much. Like maybe a little bit, but I would love to do more on that for sure.
Yeah. So basically for everybody, what we're talking is fascial maneuvers, one of the most powerful. We called the people who worked with fascia at the Human Garage motion mechanics, because what they would do is they would analyze when people would walk, and they would see what the body was saying to the walk, like what wasn't moving. And Christian here would start to use the same way I would twist fascia and stuff like that. He would be adding a needle here, adding one there, as they're moving to help the body adapt to movement. Which, if the body's moving correctly, then we are actually getting all the feedback we need to heal.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I honestly feel like I wouldn't have access to if I haven't done the programs and come to the retreats with you guys. Obviously, learn so much from you, but the big part of it is the internal learning game, like you were even just speaking with the gentleman before me, where really once you have the experiential process of understanding and clearing out all the garbage within your system, my internal gifts start to come out. And my gift is that I can feel gravitated towards an area and not even know or explain why. So, you can see structurally, you can watch, be like, okay, right shoulder's higher than left, and do all that thing. But a lot of it eventually has become intuition, where you're like, all right, like there's clearly an emotion in the room. Let's talk about that. Let's do the release for the organ, or let's like put a needle where some place is really stuck if I don't want to do a bunch of manual work.
So how have you found now that you've been implementing, you've got two distinct sets of patients. You got acupuncture, that's who you went to school, be a doctor of acupuncture. And then you've got the ones that are health coaching, which you're coaching, you're working with, you're helping with, they're doing maneuvers and stuff like this. What does it look like from a results base? Like what does it look like from the patients? How do they look? How do they act? What do you see as different?
This is a good question. Well, I mean, the obvious is anyone who takes it into their own hands makes a bigger difference within their own body. And I will say that that's still like for any practitioner, people are apprehensive and they come to it in their own time. And so I like to think of myself as that bridge of not trying to judge or persuade or to ultimately like reel someone into something that they're not ready for, but ultimately the people who do put in the work see a drastic difference. Like I'm working with a gentleman right now who's had chronic knee and low back pain, and he had a hernia, and he told me the other day, is like, yeah, I don't feel the hernia pain at all anymore. And he's just been doing the work. He's been showing up, and it was only for like 2 weeks doing it on a regular basis. So it's not a surprise to you, but for people in my clinical practice, it's one of those things that I do have enough case studies that I can lean on to be like, hey, like the people that do this really works for.
So, this is actually kind of a good question, because people don't understand the difference between allopathic and natural medicine. Somebody asked, how long does it take to become a doctor of acupuncture? Actually, that's a good question.
About 4 years. So the doctor side of things, you can just do the master's if you want, and that's about 3. But the doctoral is a 4-year program. And Um,
You,
do I
you spend
recommend
more
it?
time actually than a GP generally, right?
About the same.
Oh, same.
About the same. Yeah. But I will say though, like every educational program in the United States is very geared towards trying to get you to pass a test. And that is what has ultimately, I feel, why I gravitated towards you guys is because it's the experiential part that is the most important. Because in the books, it doesn't really matter. And a lot of the stuff is just word of mouth from one person to the next. And how much of it becomes true at the end of the day is like, you have to test it out clinically. Like you can't just listen to what someone says. You actually have to get your feet on the ground and do it yourself.
Yeah, and then I mean that is a difference. I actually watch you apply needles, and you do it the old school way, which is you could feel. I can see you feeling for depth and texture and stuff like that, which is not even really taught that well in school. It's something you have to learn to experience, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, in school they call it chi, you know, and some people they grab it, some people they don't. But I think the biggest thing is like you can definitely tell the difference between a veteran practitioner and someone who's just starting out because of the power of the treatment is so much based upon how well they do get that.
So, so when you're working with a patient, they come in and they do simple fascial maneuvers. Does that change the way that the patient presents itself for treatment? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, can you ask a more specific question though, Gary?
Okay, so if I'm coming in and you're going to apply 25 needles over my body, we're going to spend the next 45 minutes doing that. If I was to do a basic stress reset and organ reset before I came into you, what would it look different?
Oh,
Would you
night and
spend
day.
less time?
Night and day. The tissue moves so much better. Whether actually both ways, it works both ways. I prefer to do fascial maneuvers before acupuncture because the acupuncture is very much for that integrative, like really reset the nervous system to the degree where you're just receiving. But if you do the fascial maneuvers first, the tissue moves exponentially more quicker. The people get deeper rest, and you do feel, at least as a practitioner, that there's a big observational difference.
That's why my observation is working with practitioners, chiropractors, Chinese medicine doctor, acupuncturists, ART or anything like that. If they get people to do something first, there's also not only the physical changes, but there's an intent change. And
Yeah.
it seems like the treatments are deeper because it's like they're participating in the overall treatment.
Yeah, no, that is the biggest switch by far. And that's interestingly enough, I've actually just seen that switch in my practice. That the people that are coming to me now, that they're willing to dive in deeper and they're willing to show up for themselves in ways that people who were seeing me or new people that were coming to come see me even 6 months ago, that wasn't necessarily the first intent.
Yeah, yeah, and so now, like going back into your personal, so you're a practitioner, you've been implementing fascial maneuvers into your own personal life and into your practice. What is that doing for you? Like, how does that change you? How do you show up differently? What's your health look like, mental, emotional, stuff like that?
Well, like anybody, it's always evolving and changing, and I think you're such a great representation of that. Is that I personally, I still have symptoms that show up, and for instance, like about 3 months ago, I had like itchy, scaly, like almost like not chicken pox, but it was eczema-like stuff on my feet, and
Tops or bottom?
tops mostly.
Right.
And it was this really big experience that I had that you can teach it all day long of like, hey, a symptom is a healing phase, like don't worry about it, but until you truly believe in the body, there is this drastic difference of when you do have a symptom that you don't judge it, that you don't create more problems and add more stress to the issue, because now I see it as this experience of like, oh, I'm detoxing. This isn't a big deal. Like I know I'm getting better already. The body is doing what it needs to do. Previously, I would have seen that as like, yeah, that's cute on paper, but how do I get out of this discomfort? And now I don't even feel that anymore. I'm like, oh, like maybe it's uncomfortable. Maybe there's a few things that I have in my tool belt, but I don't want to suppress it even. I want to actually let it express itself and move through the next phase of whatever I need to do.
Yeah, I think that's the initial part of, like, it's gone through, for me, fashion has gone through a journey. The first one is, wow, I can get myself out. And then the second one was now I feel more empowered because I can take care of myself. I don't have to. I used to freaking hate going to my doctors and can you put needles in me? Can you adjust me? Not because they, for me, it was because they worked a long day. They were already booked out. We were like busy constantly. I didn't want to ask anybody to go out of their way, right? And so to be able to just go and do it myself and work myself out, that was a big one. But then now in my journey, I'm at the stage where my body and my emotions and my perceptions, they're meeting. They're not fighting each other. Like I'm not having, like I had this on Saturday, and it said, was it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday. My Serious Joy said to me, because it's Scorpio and it's like the 40 days of truth that I've been doing. And it said to me in the morning, you may have fear come up. And I'm like, I don't know when the last time I really had fear come up. So I get pulled over by a cop down there. And I felt it come up. And I'm like, first of all, it's stupid because there's pretty much nothing you can't just pay for down here. So there is no reason to have the fear, but I had the emotion come up anyways. And I'm like, and then I had to reconcile with why that happened. Like, why did that show up in my life? It was because that little bit was there to teach me, well, I don't have those emotions that used to drive me around, these worries and these fears and the questioning, am I doing the right thing or not? Or is this the right relationship? I don't have those anymore. And that's been this whole process of taking care of myself and getting to this spot. And I forget, honestly, I forget what it was like to be in that spot where I'm trying to, am I doing the right thing? Is this person like me? Is this the right thing in my life? My body being triggering me, going off all the time. And I believe I'm starting to see now everybody's been practicing for years. They're starting to come to that same point. It's been a big change.
Yeah, there's a question that I want to ask you in there. I don't know what it is yet, but like it seems inconceivable for the average person who's just starting this journey, right?
Yeah.
And
unbelievable.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that would be possible. So can you explain the experience that you even had the other day a little bit more? Like when you were driving and the fear came up, what is that like? Is it just an experience that runs through your body quickly? Is it a thought? Like what happens?
Well, there's two parts because we're in Scorpio. It came up, but then I'm like, then my brain is, why is it up? And now my brain wants to go and analyze it because I haven't had it for so long. And it came up not when when the guy actually pulled us over and we actually talked to him. And I'm like, there is no fear here. There's nothing to fear, but why is it coming up? Well, because it's an old habit of mine. Like when I would be in that situation, there would be this uncomfortable fear, and it was coming up in my world to show me the contrast in my life. Like, because legitimately, I hadn't felt that emotion in so long, and having it come up goes, oh yeah, it's still, yeah, the healthy amount of it's still there. It doesn't have to be about that situation. It was just it needed a talking point, and that's why it came up. And I felt it in my body, felt it right here and right here. Mm. And the once it's over, I'm still talking to myself about it. That was where all the damage comes in. It wasn't the event itself. It was all the narrative that I would, discuss and talk about it that was there. That was really the most uncomfortable part. Mm.
Yeah, even the way that you're explaining that experience is something that I can resonate with really strongly. And being that I'm Scorpio, I feel like that's probably part of it as you would point to.
It was definitely on Saturday. There was a lot of Scorpio energy on Saturday. So Scorpio and Gemini. It's like that protective boundary, and then the thoughts about it. And that's what the full moon was doing. It was basically, is there protection in the way we think about it and what we value and believe? And it was like the full moon was showing us anything that was still there. And that's what I felt. But the difference is, even though in my previous life, that would continue for days or weeks, and then the next incident, I would be right there. It's like a habit or a trigger. I'm already there when I think about it. So all of a sudden you see a cop driving behind you, and it's like, oof, I'm already there. And it's the habit of it. So the habit of the emotion is gone now. And I realized how much my life was dictated by these habits. Like if I was to tell you about your favorite food or show it to you, you start thinking about it, you salivate, then your enzymes and bacteria start getting ready. That's because your body has a habit. When I get this, I'm going to go through all of these experiences. It's already doing it. So that also happens for experiences like anger or sadness or fear, argument with a spouse or a loved one or a boss. We have the habit of it all coming up. So I had the emotion without the habit of it. Well, the habit was what kicked it off, but then it quickly went away, and that left me to deal with the feeling of it.
Yeah. It's been interesting to go into not just the emotional side of things, but even some of the astrology stuff with you guys, because you do start to see a lot of different patterns of people that will show up in your life. And also, I think one of the things that's so formational is that you get to see the storylines that are very similar for people who might be a Scorpio or someone who's, otherwise, and things that you think people like who is a Scorpio, very prone towards things like anger and resentment. And one of the experiences that just happened recently for me, you have an expectation, it doesn't get met, and like childhood anger, like you would never believe came up, and
this is like recently, like the last week, kind of recently.
In the last 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah,
and
for sure, because that's just coming out right now.
And it's definitely a gift in certain ways, but I still have it in my body, the whole gallbladder channel. I just feel it all the way down to the point where I'm walking crooked because it is having a hard time releasing. And I'll do all the fascial maneuvers, etc., but there's still clearly some experience that I need to have, or some kind of resolution through it, that it will shift physically. But it is pretty wild to just see these themes that you've taught me.
Out of curiosity, how does it feel right now?
Yeah, as soon as you did it, it started to slow down.
So I think part of the reason, because energy says that it doesn't matter if I'm doing energy work right in front of you, or I'm doing it right here. There's no distance in energy work, right? So what I did is I went right, and I got right under my nipple now. So I just cleared up that energy, and I would call that energy between us, which it's not necessarily between us. It's the frequency that we both resonate with or share of resentment, like expectation not being met. Yeah, that's definitely where I have definitely had weak moments in my life. Expectations not met, and then I'm all pissed off and frustrated, and then it's just a cascading series of stuff that goes downhill from there. So I believe that a lot of it's coming up for you right now. The same thing was coming for me last year, was so that I could feel it and believe that there's a different way, or there's more to it.
Yeah. Say more behind that.
Well, I came from, like you, not exactly like you, but I came up through the scientific, medical education, doctor route. I didn't go to school education, I got mine in training in the field, but it's the same thing at the end of the day. We're learning something about the body, and we're learning on a pretext of how the body works. And then when I got to the peak of my career in the clinic, I'm like, this ain't working. So I started developing a new belief system, but that old one was so ingrained in me. And And so part of the experiences that I went through last year and the year before, but last year in particular, was actually the year before in particular, that was the worst. There was a whole month where I couldn't, every time I get up to try and have a meeting with somebody, I'd be shut down. Like if I got up and had a meeting, I'd puke. And then if I go lay down, I'd be okay. And my body was saying, whoa, I'm going to teach you something new. And so what I mean by that is that I was developing a new belief about how I interacted with my body, like I was talking to you guys before, about how this whole experience worked. And this whole new belief that I was developing came through me having the experience. And just like me calming you down right now, I mean, that allows for a strengthening of a belief that you already have, or a new belief to be set in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty, I mean, as soon as you started to do it, I knew what you're doing, and I could feel it instantly, and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and I would say, you know, that's part of the conversation, because sometimes I go like, well, what is it I haven't learned yet? And it's like, what is it I haven't dealt with in my life? And I've dealt with a lot of things in my life. So then the question is, why is it there? Well, sometimes it's just so I can have a stronger belief. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything like the incident where I got pulled over by the police and had to pay myself like a couple thousand pesos too. So, but that, I mean, that's not the big deal. But getting pulled over, it wasn't about something I hadn't done or dealt with in my life. It was to remind me and give me more belief in what I'm already doing. It gave me a greater understanding. And did I want to do that? No. But if I don't have that contrast, everything is going so well with my life. If I don't have that contrast once in a while, then it's pretty easy to forget where I really am.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely one of the bigger lessons you guys have shown me is, you know, especially when you go to a retreat with the Human Garage, you get put in this like isolation bubble. You're like riding the energy wave of everything that they've already worked through, and you feel really, really great. And then you go back into the real world, and that contrast is pretty stark. And the contrast is a big one for sure.
So there's a good point. So we have enough people at this retreat. The way it's working is the ones coming up is we have people that are facilitators and coaches, practitioners. We have people that are just in the beginning of the Lifestyle Artist program. And then we have people in the 28-day reset. Now we're opening it up to a smaller group of people that maybe not in the 28-day reset. What was it like going to a retreat with us?
Life-changing. It doesn't get any better than learning in person with you guys, in the sense that you see things, you feel things, you experience it, and sometimes you might not be able to explain it, but ultimately you will feel it within inside of you that something shifted and changed. And it has taught me more about what I do as an acupuncturist than any of the 4 years of school. And I came back through both retreats that I went to a 10 times better practitioner, because it becomes more about feeling the presence of someone else when you're in the room with them, and then knowing what to do intuitively from that space, rather than trying to like recite, okay, they have this symptom or that symptom, I should use this acupuncture point versus that point. It has truly just become, how does my presence become the ultimate force in the room to be able to assist someone as they come through my doors?
You know, it was because we have a lot of practitioners, and that are like busy practitioners. They come home at the end of the day, they're wiped. And they get a few maneuvers in. They've been doing the best that they can, and they haven't gone through the resets. And that was that's actually what triggered me into saying, okay, we need to take a small part of the community that hasn't even been in our programs and bring them in, because then they get a broad experience, since we have all three groups.
Yeah, I love that. You guys are always shaking and moving over there.
Yeah, it's definitely it's different. No, it really is. I mean, we're different. It is different. And, you know, where the world's happening right now, the world's a pretty weird spot right now. And, you know, as we've been talking about for a long time, it's going to continue to get weirder for the next or the next year. Anyways, this next 9 months, this next 2.5 months is crazy for people. Have you noticed an uptick in people having physical issues or emotional issues?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna continue for the next 2.5 months like crazy. It's gonna continue to accelerate.
I don't doubt it. And yeah, things don't change until it hurts bad enough. So probably has to happen.
That's awesome, Christian. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Um, no, I've got some cool stuff on the pipeline for anyone who's following. Feel free to follow me. But I've got some acupuncture integrative videos that I will be producing soon with you guys, you
Good.
guys. So
Yeah, that stuff belongs in. We're putting a lot of focus into YouTube now for longer form content, educational. So feel free, if you got them in the 5 and 10 minute range, that's good content for YouTube. It's like, how do we integrate this with that? So feel free to like cut if you have some instructional that you want to give, because that's a big part of where we want to go. Take it to the next step and give people not just that quick thing, but how does that quick thing interact? Talk about it, why, all that stuff.
love that. Yeah, I would be happy to do that.
Okay,
Thank
Christian,
you very much.
it's awesome talking to you.
Until next time.
Take care. Yes, that was actually a really, really good conversation. Ikue, you ready to go? See that you're there now, that you requested. Yeah, it's blueprint.cp, blueprint.cp. And again, that's his Instagram. Christian, if you can put it in there so people can follow you, that would help. And you're going to find a lot more practitioners and doctors like Christian coming up now. And the reason why you're going to see that is because, again, what we used to do, the old way of doing it, it ain't quite working the way it used to. And we need a bit more to it. So we're going to move all the way over to a coach, and one of our longest running coaches, second longest running coach, Ikue. Hello, Ikue.
Hi Gary, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good, feeling a lot of energy because of full moon.
Yeah, full moon.
Full moon. Yeah.
And it's after your birthday, so you're smiling more.
Maybe. I've been smiling a lot.
So tell everybody when your birthday is. I mean, everybody knows you, but they probably don't know your birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my name is Ikue. This is how I describe this. My name sounds like equality. That's what Gary says. The equal way, the only way. And so it's pronounced as like Ikue. And my birthday is October 20th. So I'm a Libra.
Yeah, and you just had it. How do you feel after your birthday? Do you feel a change or a shift?
Change or shift, yes. And then I know that according to Series Joy, November 4th, it's an official day for our life, like the life we were born to live.
Yeah.
So I'm just like really working hard and not working hard, it's just letting things happen, to let go of anything that don't serve me. And I feel like I'm ready for a lot of things. I know my body is so funny. Last year, it's a lot to do with emotions that I need to go through.
Mm-hmm.
This year, there are some emotions and, cry. And yesterday, you sent me something. Oh, yeah. You gave me some pep talk. And then I was like crying. It's like, why am I crying? But mostly, it's a lot to do with physical this year. All the release.
Yeah, so physical. I mean, you've been teaching. So how long have you been teaching fascial maneuver classes?
Over probably 1 year and a half. No, it's
you were doing them before. You're doing them online.
Yeah, coming close to 2 years, including the online classes. Yeah.
And so you do them online. You're on our Instagram, and you do them on yours, and you do them in person. First of all, what's it like for doing the classes on a regular basis? Is it changing you as a person doing them on?
Yeah, it's changed me in many aspects. I I feel more confident. Like I've been teaching as a dancer and dance teaching, but just had to realize that all the stuff that I learned through dance teaching and dance, I just basically know how to move. And all I have to do is teach people how to move. And that same thing to dance and same thing to fascial maneuvers. And my teaching styles have changed drastically, but also I'm always like reading the room and changing things up. And I like adding a lot of different maneuvers and always exploring with my body. And yeah, it's just like I appreciate all the people that come to
You
my class. Yeah.
have a lot of fans out there for sure.
Yeah, I have some regulars and they always bring me like positive energy. It's a lot different when I get a lot of new people or versus I get a lot of regulars, because I noticed that when my lifestyle artists come to my classes, also my regulars come, it just creates a multiplied effect, because we are all working through together. And those people who are regular, it just facilitate and, you know, it just adds up like, like multiplied effect, and it's just like boosting tensions, and it's just like, it's a party.
Yeah,
It's a,
it is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
How when you have how's it been, you know, like switching over now? We're doing, well, first of all, we're doing classes on our Instagram. How is that for you? Is it different than the TikTok ones you used to do?
Yeah, it's a lot different, and then it's more interactive, because TikTok you don't really get like you know, update or announcement, so not many people know about it. They just come across, you know, the TikTok live, and it's like, oh, join, and it's like, and then what is this all about? And those kind of questions are very, you know, common. But Instagram, people are there because they want to follow Human Garage. And my class is like, I think today, yeah, so I have a class today at 6 p.m. PST, and people are, you know, starting to discover, oh, this is gonna be the weekly thing, so I'm just gonna, you know, work my schedule around it so they can join. And yeah, so it's a lot different. Work like online classes and in-person classes are very different. How I interact with people, I basically can't see them, right?
Yeah.
So that just create a lot of anxiety. It's like, am I doing right thing? And I'm always at the end of the day, am I having fun? And that's the main thing. So from that place, I can relax, and I just, you know, just words started to come out. I don't have to judge what I say, because I used to be so perfectionist and I have to present a certain way. But it's like, you know, when I'm like circle, I don't need to pretend that I'm square. And this is just who I am. Yeah.
So people, somebody asked, is there a program to help teach others? So what would you say right now? Because you've kind of learned through osmosis. So if somebody wants to learn how to teach fascial maneuvers, what would you tell them to do?
Mm, I, I think it's, you just have to, you know, to cheat, like you, um, I think it's really different to people, but I think you need to practice by yourself first, and kind of like, you know, there's no such thing as a perfection, but you need to know how to move first, and then from there you can really start it to, okay, what if I do this, what if I do that? So I think it's like we have 10 basic maneuvers, but fascial maneuvers are beyond that. You really need to understand the principle of how to work with fascia, which is you can learn it in the program. Also, we are, you know, I'm helping Human Garage, the team, to, you know, make that like a syllabus.
Yeah.
And if you really understand that, you can really start creating your own maneuvers that help clients and your students. And then you create your own, because we all come here, and you know, with our knowledge, and you know, like all the stuff that we do. For me, I have a lot of dance dance background and skills in hand, so I know how to be creative and then change things up, but then feel it in my body so I can apply it to people, and then like, okay, let's try this and see what happens. So yeah.
So it's at the, so what I hear you saying is the best way is like go do the maneuvers on the videos, learn the cue, them up, learn what to say, learn how to move it and what to say. And you can just do that by practice. The other way I think it's good for people is invite some friends over and do it with them with a video. Because then you can cue to it, you can add to it, and it doesn't feel like you're responsible. And then
Also, like,
and then just try to get them in a room, and then just try to explain it to them and see what happens. Have some fun.
And it happened to many of us, but be aware that, you know, we get high with our own supplies, and, you know, when we are just in the flow, we just forget where we are. And especially
that happens, right? It's like you're teaching a class and it's like, did I do that or not? And if there's nobody there to answer, then sometimes
that's what happened yesterday when we did like Antoine twist, and it's like, where I was, like, I couldn't speak, and then it's like, and Sandra is like, oh yeah, we just did this, and because I was wondering, is there a left side? No, there's no left side.
Yeah, I've done that. You know, it's funny because when there's a lot of emotion coming out, I can very easily forget where I am at. If it's an in-person class, there's people around you to go, hey, other side. But if you're online, and then sometimes online, I get to it and I'll go, oh, I forgot to do the whole other side. Okay, guys, we forgot to do this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And just have fun with it, really, at the end of it.
Oh, can I quickly show you something?
Yeah.
I did this in the in-person class yesterday. It's a press squat. But, you know, Ben's presses at school like this. What I did yesterday with the students, they love it. You're going to go actually use your, go into the sit box and we bring it forward. So it looks like this. And then do the maneuvers.
Yeah, that works great. Yeah, that works great. And you probably, that works really good. Actually, that's a really good one. And you've done this one, right? Where you're going to do a pretzel squat, you grab your quad, and then you squat.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, so, I find that works great. I've never done it that way, but that area, because if you put pressure on the hand, it's going to create more movement on that one side. It's a great one.
Yeah, so I tried that with people and then they loved it. Also, like, a lot of my friends gave me feedback about this maneuver. So.
Well, the tongue one was, you have a video coming out. I know it's on your site. I think we're going to be posting, or did we post it? I think we're posting that one. It's the one where the tongue video. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. So that one's good. That's not on our Instagram account yet,
okay, right? Sounds great.
But no, that one we haven't published that one yet.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. That one's a funny one. You gotta wait till you see this one from Ikue, because she's doing it and she's got her tongue out and she's got these little emojis there, and it's like literally I was laughing through the whole video. It was funny.
Yeah.
So you're also doing, like, you can actually do in person with people now, and you're doing in person. I mean, you're in Vancouver and you got a pretty big draw area. A lot of people have come and seen you. Is it like, what is an in-person session? What does it look like with you?
Yeah, so it's in-person session will be very different from online sessions. And then each person bring their own intention. So I kind of like customize the session, but I normally give them homework beforehand, do this. And, you know, some of them have done maneuvers for a while, or you never done anything and they just kind of like book the session with me. But yeah, it's just like, my partner gifted me a bed. It's a massage bed, so I'm very excited about that. But I also found the power of just standing fetal position, assisted maneuvers. And I just, you know, there's like, people normally come to me and I expect that, oh, I just want to lie down, please fix me. But there's the power of working.
Yeah, that's the old way.
Yeah, we all you know, always talk about it, but the person who are receiving also need to move. What we are doing is actually just, you know, as a practitioner, body worker, we just pin it and let the body move. So
it's actually truly what the motion mechanic of human garage really is. It's like you're actually, if I'm doing a maneuver like this, you got your hands on me, you're moving me as well, and that's helping my body have a whole other reference point. It takes the basic maneuvers that I could do by myself. I say to people all the time, when you can do partner or practitioner assisted maneuvers, it takes what I could do, especially practitioner assisted. It takes what would take me 3-4 months to do by myself, and I can do it in one session.
Mm-hmm.
And I still believe that the best use of a practitioner or a partner is I do all the maneuvers and then I'm stuck, and that partner helps accelerate me, or the practitioner does. And then you give the clients homework and things to work on based on what you saw in that session, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm also noticing that, it's like awakening, and with this journey, it's not about just peace and love. You go through some uncomfortable phase, and then just, this year going through this uncomfortableness in my body, and it's like I know that it's like I don't need to see a doctor. I know what I'm going through, but also at the same time it's like, when is this gonna end, kind of thing, and then but realizing that whatever I go through is gonna help people because I go through it. And I'm learning. It's like, okay, should I move this way and then move that way? And then I will go back to classes and live classes. Let's do this together and see how you feel, kind of thing. So I'm learning through this process with my detox, with my pain, and so that I can be more compassionate.
So here's one. I mean, you do a lot of the classes that we put on have been free of charge, and I think we're going to start to get better facilities and more working environment. We're going to start charging like a small donation fee for those classes. But you've been doing a lot of work for people for years for free. But
Mm-hmm.
when you part of your journey is you teach dance, but you want to do more fascial maneuvers and less dance teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so you charge for a session to do that. How much do you charge normally for a session, out of curiosity, for all the other lifestyle artists that are out there?
Oh, right now, I just upgraded my price, and it's 45 minutes, 125 for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and 250 for 1 hour and a half.
And when they're in that session, do you give them homework beforehand? You do work with them, accelerate them, and then you give them something to do afterwards, right?
Yeah. So I'll do like if necessary, I do a quick discovery call to see understand their needs.
What they're coming in for, right?
Yeah. So and then so a meeting person, and it's like, let's walk through this. And I'm just I'm still like learning how. I think it's just like any other practitioners. I was just trying to figure out the most effective way to help people.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited. It's I definitely do a lot of even like dance private sessions and all that. And I do feel like on this journey, what I'm learning, it just like accelerate teaching process in general, like the learning process. So I know, like in general, I'm not necessarily separating dance teaching from fascia coaching, because it's just like I basically teach people how to move.
Yeah.
And I feel like I kind of like started to establish the way of like how to let people move so quickly and effortlessly, and just like they just need to connect with their body. So I feel more confident in that. I know how to guide people to move.
And that's really at the end of it. That's the big deal. It's really, because what is fascial maneuvers? It's slow motion dance. It's basically teaching us how to move again, but we've become so malfunctioning and non-moving in our society today. That's where a lot of our disease comes from, is we don't move right.
Yeah. And I incorporated a lot of fascial maneuvers into my dance practice. I teach a lot of kids, and they were very receptive. For example, I do like a finger release with them, and I was like, okay, just to move around, and then they started to just do a lot of different dance and pinning the fascia. We do a lot of twisting moves. They also go into my Instagram, so they know what I'm doing, and they just like copy, and I do this.
Well, that's actually a good point. You actually have, because you have a lot of Instagram content, you have a whole Japanese channel, and you have a whole bunch of other content, and you know how to help people through and build syllabuses and help people through their journey. So and you've been doing this for a long time. You've been structuring out how to help it. I would imagine that probably, especially with what's coming up, is there going to be a lot of dancers coming your way.
Yeah. agree. Yeah, people started to message me. All the people from the past, like who I used to dance with, they started to discover fascial maneuvers, and still like it's like what is fascia? But at the same time, when they take my class, it's like they've been stretching, they've been dancing professionally for a long time. It's like there's just something about that is just so different. How I feel in my body is, for me, fascial maneuvers is like internal
Yeah,
massage that you
good
can't
way to say it.
get from any other exercise. It's just, I learned that it triggers the limbic system, emotional center, midbrain, and all that. But I am at the point in my personal practice where I going further, because I know how to move, and I feel like the 10 basic maneuvers can get you to a certain point, but
Yeah,
can you use this as more performance and stuff like that? So what
right.
I'm doing is going further. Can I push myself more, because my fascia is open, so I should be able to be more elastic. And then, good reference point is bones do not touch each other except your rib cage, teeth, and ears. Now, can you twist more? So from that point, because you don't want to stuck in any pattern. So when I teach, like, okay, can you break the pattern more? Even the patterns are created through fascial maneuvers, because it's all about
Right.
finding your flow. Maybe can you do this totally twisted by turning your feet or turning in
Yeah,
today
turning
or something like
in,
that.
turning out, turn your
Yeah.
feet in, turn them out, do it. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
makes a big difference. It's like these little small adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think having your experience really kicks in, because we we learn those through the years, because we weren't even really thinking about them 2-3 years ago. But
Mm-hmm.
somebody can really change the acceleration of their practice. Like, I'm really tight on my left side. Well, turn that foot out and turn your hip before you squat,
Mm-hmm.
or you do a pretzel squat, and then you get a whole other movement process to it. But those are just things that take a while to learn by yourself, and it's okay. Your body can. But coming and going to a class like yours, or going to an in-person class, online class, or even accelerating it with a coaching session too. And it's not just to fix you, but it's to accelerate you, make you move better. Those are the real benefits of what you've gained over the years, is being able to help people accelerate their practices. In other words, if they're trying to get out of pain, instead of like, 2-3 months, you might be able to do it in 2 or 3 weeks. But it's from a performance standpoint, things that they've been trying to do for years that they haven't been able to do, maybe they can do if they remove a restriction.
Mm-hmm. Somehow we love structure, and even when we learn new stuff, we try to put ourselves into a box, and it's like this is it. But it's like, can we break that and then create the structure of freedom, because that's what our body is designed to do. And can we flow through this? And so we're always discovering the different shape, discovering patterns. And from that point, it's literally a dance for me, and I just really sinking that in. So when I teach people how to liberate themselves through dance and movement and fascia. And I'm just so excited, because everything is so connected with what I do.
Okay, so people can go to your free class. It's on TikTok. When are those times?
Instagram. So
Or Instagram, I mean, sorry.
Yeah. Always.
Garage Instagram.
Mondays. So today at 6 p.m. PST.
Okay, and then they can go to your in-person class.
Yeah, it's in Vancouver. Sundays at 10 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7:45 at Capoeira Studio.
Okay, cool. And they can book a private online session with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can, and they can go to my link in the bio, and then you can see all the content. And then if they have any questions, they can ask me before they book, or you can book a session, and I will message them.
And you could do a private in-person session as well.
Yeah, in-person session as well.
You do it the way I did it, and the way I've always done it. You have people come over to your home. That's good, right? I mean, listen, the human garage started in the garage and in the home. And still, it's like when we went and got our Conscious Clubhouse, it was just a big $10 million mansion.
Yeah.
It's because it's something about going to an office or a studio. When you go to someone's home, there's a different level of engagement. And that's why I always love it. It brings my energy into that piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Unlike Christian, it's not like I have like acupuncture skill or anything like that. But so my approach is different, but definitely.
What do you mean not like Christian? He can't move like you. Movement is life. The reason we do acupuncture so we can move.
Yeah.
So you, I mean, you're the master in that. You've got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay, Ikue, thank you so much. People can follow you. Put it up there.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye. Guys, hold on one second. What's going on? Okay. Do you need me to do something? You want something done right now?
Yeah, it's my down here.
Okay. So do what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to do the partner maneuvers in here. Come over. You'll see it. I'm going to open up from here to here. She's having some problems in here with. So all I'm doing here is these are the partner maneuver series. You can go to our website and you can get these. Okay. And these are on our website under basic partner maneuvers. And they help open up all the way down into there, which will give her a little bit more space.
A little bit more or less nauseous.
Okay. She's had a little bit of issues since the full moon hasn't quite got her Pisces out. And it's Pisces right now. I'm glad with the Pisces. And what I'm doing is I'm twisting the arm, pulling it. There you go. Okay.
I'm feeling very fishy.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my hands into the belly button, upside down. I'm going to turn. I'm going to put my other hand in the back of her back. And I'm going to turn opposite and turn her body. That'll just kind of calm down anything that's going on in here.
Yeah, it's a powerful day for Pisces.
Yeah, Pisces
7
did.
degrees, Scorpio moon.
Yeah.
I've been sleeping a lot. Thank you.
Okay. She's going to call with some of our lifestyle artists in a couple minutes. I did that at Joshua Tree. Thank you, Juicy Rebel. Felt amazing. It does, actually. And it's, you know, there's a physical part of the treatment, but the most important part is the intention and the energetics of it. Same issue here, Michelle. Virgo. I'm Michelle the Virgo. Okay, it's going to be an Ikue dancer. You can follow her right here. So Ikue there. And if you want to book a session, feel free to, reach out to her. But definitely go to her classes. I mean, these are one of the things that you can do. We put all this stuff up and we put a lot of content up for free of charge. And the reason why we do that is we want to have the basics to help yourself. We want to make that accessible to anybody, anywhere, anytime. We're now have fascial maneuvers in 20 languages, portions of it in 20 languages. And a lot of those places, they don't have the money to pay for a class even. And that's why we do this. And so part of it is that when you, Ikue is moving from teaching dance to working with and helping people in fascial maneuvers or in consciousness and personal issues. And that's a big switch. So she's working on turning off her dance business. And so that she can be over here full time. And I see some other people in there. Yes, Haruka. It is very common to sleep a lot when you start. And guys is yes, Chinta Wenta, American Sign Language. Yes, thank you, ASL. Yeah, she's gonna come in. She's learning the maneuvers here, Chinta Wenta. She's learning the maneuvers, and then we're gonna do one all signed, and that would be kind of cool. That was our vision. Our vision was to get it out to the world. And one of the ways to get it out to the world is remove the barriers and stop it. And we are trying everything. We're trying everything to do that. May I speak with you, Gary? This is for IHOW 530. I how is it I how 5:30? What is it do you want to speak about? I how 5:30. Hey, Yelena, asking for a friend. I want to learn more about this. Any videos in Nujabi or Native American language? Not yet. It says Obijo. Sorry, Ojiboa. If I'm saying it wrong, I know. Sorry. Yeah, the way that we are, what happens is people in the community who learn the maneuvers then do it. We are a small team and we keep our expenses extremely low so that we can do all of this and not charge people for the basic pretense of that. So yes, thank you for saying I look super young today. Yeah, I am feeling very young. There has been a big change this week, by the way. So when you learn fascial maneuvers and you have a native tongue that we're not, and I'll tell you why, translating into a language, translating into a language does not work directly. And I'll tell you why, because we use, like sitting in a chair, like we say that, like you're doing this. Those common things are what connect with the brain of people. And this is where you having your experience if you want it in that language, then learn it. And then if you go to our multi-language on our YouTube, you'll find it's not us doing it, it's people. We could easily translate it into another language, but we found that didn't get the right effect because there's culture and native, even in Spanish, there's different cultures between South America and Mexican Spanish. And we find that the people in South America don't quite get it as much as done in their native tongue. Align Fitness in Washington, D.C. Thank you for checking in. Hi, Renee Sloan. Okay. The process of translating a guide in Serbian. Thank you, Elena. That's awesome. Yeah, that's what and thank you guys all for doing that. I know that people are working. I saw recently Turkish. Stella DeVoe was translating it into Turkish, and with somebody doing it, I think she's working with somebody who's going to help us with Indonesian. And then, eventually the whole point of this is that this is not a money-making corporate deal. We just want to get the information out. And if you guys can get it there and get it out there, that works. Michelle, thank you. Portuguese is definitely needed. Okay, everybody. So we have in 2 more hours. We have Astro Mondays, and if you haven't watched it yet, go watch last week's Astro Monday and look over the last 2 weeks. Basically, what Chris said was coming is exactly what is coming and what is happening. It's going to be very, very powerful. A couple of weeks coming up here. This next week coming up here, we're going to go from 7th to 14th degree. So we are going to go into some crazy, crazy stuff about what our boundaries are, what hasn't been done. Today, it's what my boundaries are, it's what I sense around the world with me. It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks, and all of the support you can get. So again, if you wanted to go to our retreat, it'll be live. It should be on our website under events for public consumption. And again, what the idea is, we have so many people that are not in the resets, so many people 28-day resets, so many lifestyle artists, level 1, level 2, coaches and facilitators. Ikue will be there for an example, and we'll be helping and working with people in there, showing them how to help themselves, how to work with each other. And you've got a lot of coaches and lifestyle artists that are teaching classes there, and you've got different viewpoints and different ways of doing it. Because it doesn't work coming to a retreat when there's like 50, 60 people, and it's just the 4 of us. It doesn't work very well because there's no way we can possibly get to you all. But this way, everybody gets a chance. Everybody gets a chance to feel stuff, to learn, to interact with each other. And that's what's going to be really powerful. So yeah, it'll be up on the site. If it's not up right away, at least we'll have it up here shortly. And you can get the details for it. And this is for people that have been following along who've been doing fascial maneuvers, who want to get in contact or want to be with other people, learn in depth, more deep, how to help themselves, how to help others. You will have the chance. We're going to be teaching hands-on partner maneuvers. So if you have issues that you've been dealing with, you're going to be able to get a little bit more help with how to make that work. Yeah. Yeah, Chento went to it. Yeah, Aisha helped me with the belly button to work. It worked. Yes, absolutely. Okay, everybody. We'll see you guys at Astro Monday in about 2 hours. It's been a great session today. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining, TikTok.